Yeah, very good afternoon to one and all. Today I am going to share about how the service-oriented architecture will work out in our cloud computing. As we know that cloud computing, it is nothing but the service will be given to the customers or to the organizations. For that one, we need the services from the cloud computing. In order to provide the services, we will try to create an architecture such that it will be understood by the this one. Okay, service architecture is defined as a for the system software, for the software, the service oriented architecture you have to make it out such that it will be published or discovered. You are going to make the services interact with each other using by making use of two important protocols, that is nothing but the REST protocol as well as SOAP protocol. Services are loosely coupled, meaning the services interface is independent of the underlying. That means you are not going to make it as a tightly coupled or this and all. So you will have the services independently, which will be given for any of the interaction what the customer demands or requires. It is nothing but it is a distributed system architecture, and means it is not a sequential, because all the services will be distributed based on the requirement of the as a client, the services will be provided. This is so simple program, a simple diagram we will be able to understand. The consumer will request, we will send a service request, and the service provider will send the response for this one. Okay, so the characteristics of the SOE are of three characters. One is nothing but the logical view, second one is nothing but the message orientation, third one is nothing but the description of the message orientation. Logical view is nothing but the consumer will request the service to provide it. That service problem statement provision will be in the form of a databases, or it will be in the form of a business processes, or it will be every problem statement you are going to give in the form of the services in the form of a logical view. That's what we are going to do. And message orientation, it is a very very important thing, where the communication between the consumer and the server provider will be done by making use of the message orientation. So the provider will receive some message what the request that requester has made it, and the provider will respond to that message saying that it is going to give a service in this form and all. That is nothing but the services communications. That communications will be described, that communications will be described in the form of a public use or maybe in the form of a private use and all. How it will be machine executable metadata. You are going to execute the data metadata in the form of machines only. That data is only normally in the form of the service it has been provided, and you are going to give the services in the form of a number of multiple services in a small modules of the operations also will be provided for the large and complex messages and occur. Next one is a network oriented services also will be given for the network. It is absolute requirement. Next you will have the platform neutral messages also will be sent in a platform neutral. That means the message is not platform oriented, it is a platform independent only. That's what we'll try to call it as called as a platform neutral messages. XML is the best example for this constraint. We'll go for the next topic. This is the evaluation of the service oriented architecture. In this evaluations, four important topics what you have to remember is nothing but you have the databases, you have the filtering of the clouds will be done, and you have the services messages will be provided. What you will have normally, you will have the raw data. The raw data will be furnished into a information data, or from that information you are going to get data. This raw data will be in the form of heterogeneous data and homogeneous data. You are going to make use of heterogeneous data if it is necessary, or homogeneous data, or the entire heterogeneous data will be converted into homogeneous data, and you have the data and information that is provided. From that information you will get a knowledge. Based on this knowledge you are going to display the decisions, or maybe the view of the output or view of the expectations will be done in the form of the wisdom. For this we are making use of three things. One is nothing but the cloud computer, compute cloud, and then the storage cloud, and then the filter cloud, and then the databases will be done. And we'll have the various types of the grids. Grids are nothing but the for each and every app, or maybe each and every section, or maybe different types of the varieties of this one, you will have the grids that are provided to you. Okay, that's what it has been explained here. You have the raw data collected by the sensors, and you have the service oriented devices that interact for the small computers, many grids and all, and you have the filters and all. It will emulate the unwanted raw data, and you have the collection of the filter services. Okay, most of the distributed service requires a web interface or the portal. You are going to interface, that means you are going to communicate with the data by means of a web interface or by means of the web portal. That's what it has been specified here. The inter-service messages in the form of the portal, web portal, you are going to do this one. And for the raw data collected by the large number of sensors to be transferred into a useful information, or it will be converted into useful knowledge, where you are going to create a data stream, and you will go in the form of a sequence of you will have the deletions, insertions, and then the modifications of the data. It has been done, and the formatting of the entire data will be done such that you will get in the form of an information. Next, this is the main elements of the SOA. Okay, there are the four parts of the SOA. One is nothing but the application for front end. Second is nothing but the service, what all the services it provides. Third one is nothing but the service repository. Fourth one is nothing but the service bus. Application front end is nothing but it is the first end to the end user. You are going to submit that one. That is nothing but the application front end, and it is a one of the one part of the architecture. Services is nothing but what are all the various of services that are provided by the provider to the consumer only. The various types of the services that has been covered in you have the contract. That means you should have the mutual understanding, or MOU will be done between the customer and then the provider. If it is an end customer and it is a free of service of the few of the public services, service giving the free service, and we don't have any contract and all. But for the organizations, you will have the contract between the client as well as the service provider, and the implementation between after the MUI, the implementation for the service by the service provider will be given, and then the interface is nothing but you will communicate from client to the service provider. The interface should be there. Okay, the implementation will be in the form of a business logic and making use of the data. And the service bus is nothing but it is a route, how it will make a route from the client to the service. That's what it has been explained. The service bus, it routes a request from the consumer to respective service, and it the place where all the services are registered for the consumer consumers to locate. Interface is nothing but it is exposed to the public to access the service. This is all I have explained. And the user interface of the application is a self-contained unit of the software that performs a specific contract is nothing but the agreement to access the service. Thank you so much.